don't want the default. What I really want is, okay, we got something here. There's something. Okay. Now I gotta do something. The camera that is on my desk or on the desktop is not working properly. So I'm gonna move a camera. See if I can do this. Okay. Okay, the overhead, we're going to use this video capture device, Logitech Brio. Okay. Something is going on here. I don't know what it is. This camera, the computer does not seem to want to see it. And why are we looking at that? That is crazy. That's not what this camera is seeing. Now, let's try. Logitech Brio. Let's see if this is the right one. No, that's not the right one. It's the other Logitech Brio. Okay, here we go. I think we've got something there. All right, this is going to be awkward because I've got a microphone that works here. Okay. And the normal view is not normal. Overhead. Teleprompter. No, that's not enough USB controller resources. Okay. Well, it worked a minute ago. This is supposed to work. Hang on it. Okay, well, this is the camera that I guess we'll use if we can. Maybe I can tape it there or something. Let me get a little piece of tape. Okay, it goes this way. And we'll go like that. Put that cable back there. And now I've got to properties, configure video, camera control, zoom. Well, it zoomed all the way out. All right, well, we're going to use this camera, I guess. I don't know. Okay, actually, I think we're going to make a go of this. Let's... Sorry for all those who checked in already. Okay, I'm going to put this over here. I've got a camera that normally works without any issue has suddenly decided it's not going to work. And I think that may be because the cable got pulled out some, and it's one that goes into the back of the computer. Unfortunately, I have to pull the computer out to get that. Okay, let's see. It is now almost 7 o'clock. Welcome to everyone to the channel. I'm very grateful that I'm able to get, whoops, it didn't work. There. We'll just, it should come down a little bit more. There. Okay. Hello, everyone. Let's see, I'm back from Dayton. If you all guys can all just wait a minute, I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. There we go. Well, welcome to the live stream with the Rocky Start. I thought I had all 3 cameras. Oh, come on. I thought I had all 3 cameras working, and so I, with great confidence, turned it on for tonight, and the main camera that sits on top of this monitor didn't work. Now, I could face the teleprompter, but the problem with doing that is that then I can't see the comments. So this way we can look there. Okay. Bill Myers, KAGIM, hello and good evening. And don't let me forget, we're actually going to do a drawing tonight. And I've got to get this from the, and I'll show you what is the giveaway. I have to have some computer geek look at me. This is a shortwave radio right here that was sent to me to check out. It covers AM, FM, and shortwave, and it's got the usual scanner, timer, etc., etc. It's by Reticus, a TR113 full band radio, whatever full band is. Okay, and we've got everything for this. I reviewed it a few months ago, and I think we should. Now, I have in front of me a bunch of cards sent in by a lot of people. The most faithful one has been David Samsel, who has been sending in a card every month. And there's several other people that have done it. We've got to get back in the groove here, however it takes to do that. Okay, so I'm Dave Casler, amateur radio, call sign KE0OJE, and what you're seeing here is definitely the amateur hour of me trying to get this live stream underway. Been a little bit, no, been a lot irregular with the live streams, and my apologies for that. We'll see what we can do about that. I don't want to make promises I can't keep, so I don't know if I can promise that I'll do this every week. Maybe we can kind of work toward that. Okay, Bill Meyer, KA8GIM. Good evening, Dave and Ologis. Radio Dad 777. I think we have a new attendee. Says, hi, Dave. John Hoover. Hello, my friend. Best wishes from John, KA4QVZ. Chris Wilson, who says, good day from Australia. Chris, I think I arrived for the sound check. No, the time to have the live stream arrived prior to the sound check. So we're just going to use this one. I was hoping to have something where I could do the overhead. This is actually the camera that's supposed to be on the overhead. And, well, I played some games and it's working in this one right now. John Ward, hello there from W3OJ. Hello. John Ward, we got tanks. Can hear you now, says Bill. Chris, audio's fine. Fade to black, yes, we hear you. Jeff KD9ZSL, hello Dave. Coach 10X, good evening y'all. I'm a new ham. Still need to get my antenna up. Hope you're all doing well. Well, Coach 10, please share with us your call sign. We'd like to know that. And congratulations and welcome aboard. Chris, I'm older ham with a similar problem. No antenna up at the moment. Yeah, throw a wire in the trees. If you're trying to get on HF, you'll need an antenna tuner for it. But, I mean, any antenna is better than no antenna. They're, for about $100, the league sells a 40 meter through 10 meter end-fed half wave. Under $100. That's a kit. You got to make it yourself. And they include this 60 some odd feet of wire that you need for that antenna. Now that doesn't need to all go in a straight line. If you've got a backyard where you've only got one high point, you can put an inverted V. Or if you can get it over near the house, take to one corner of the backyard and then over to the other corner of the backyard, that works too. So you don't need to spend $700 or $800 on fancy antenna. You can get on the air with a dipole for like really cheap. I'm talking about HF now. If you are a tech and you want to be able to talk to people outside of your house or immediate area, if you don't have a repeater nearby, you're going to have to put up a outdoor antenna. Ed Fong, EDFONG, look that name up and use the word antenna in the query, and it will tell you about what he does. He makes, actually his grad students make these antennas. They're paid, and that's how they make their money to, go to graduate school. And he's in the Bay Area somewhere. I've got one of his antennas. They work fine. Of course, there's the classic J-pole made out of You can make it out of anything, copper pipe, twin lead, just regular wire, and there's like a whole bunch of things that you can do to get inexpensive antennas on the air. Now, what is not inexpensive is the coax. It's running over $1 a foot these days, even for the RG8X, which is my favorite cable. And then the connectors, you know, you got to pay for the connectors on each end. Or better yet, buy a cable that's already got the connectors on it. The problem there, of course, is getting it from inside to outside the house. What I have done in the past is we have a little bit of a crawl space here. And so I pulled the rug back in the corner of the room, drilled a hole, and cables go down there, and then they go out through a vent to the outside where they go to the lightning arrestor on the grounding rod. That's the way I used to do it. Now I've got a cabinet for all the lightning arrestors and so on, what they call in the grounding book a single point ground plate. So anyway, there you go. So Ericsson M0XYN, hello Dave and all Augies. EZX, yes. Chris Wilson, been using a big mag loop on a lightning tripod, but I don't like leaving that one out in the rain. Chris, there are multiple kinds of mag loops. The MFJ one, if you can get a hold of one, it can be tuned remotely from indoors and it can withstand the rain. Chameleon, is it Chameleon that has one that you can be kind of remote with? To get one that's fully remote, let's see if they've got the ad in here. They're charging an arm and a leg for these things. You can build a mag mount antenna as exotic as you wish. And the problem with that is the expense. To get a mag loop to withstand 100 watts power, you've got to build a tunable capacitor that's huge, like, you know, that big. Some people, I've seen people do it themselves from little sheets of metal and so on. Here it is right here. This is the advertisement. Choose precise RF magnetic loop antennas and look at the prices on those things. For the one that's got remote control and auto tuning, it's over $1,300. Now the thing is that these have the same gain as a $5 dipole you made yourself. And I've got several videos on how to make those dipoles. Are really easy. Start with the dipole. I suggest starting with a 40-meter dipole. You can create a fan dipole fairly easily, and I did a video on that, the October 2023 supplemental video to my Ask Dave column. So it's on the League's YouTube page. And put it together for practically nothing. Straight out this way. You use little pieces of plastic pipe with holes drilled through them to hold the 40-meter part at the top, then the 20-meter, and then the 10-meter. And the thing will work beautifully, really, on 15 meters also. So you pick up 4 bands for very little price, 1 feed line, 1 feed point. As you move up the expense ladder, now again, okay, a dipole is the reference here. When I'm saying unity gain, that's the gain of a dipole. Unity, fancy word mathematicians use, meaning one. We are all one. This is, I guess, the earliest example of that is when Christ said, if ye are not one, ye are not mine. And that one there means unity. And so mathematicians have kind of taken that word over to mean one, unity. So a unity gain antenna has the same gain as a dipole. So the mag loop will have the same gain as a dipole. A vertical antenna, which you can spend a bloody fortune on, has the same gain as a dipole. A little bit lower elevation angle, but I mean, you need to start getting into hex beams or Yagis or something like that to start getting more gain. And the way antennas make gain, it's a cheat. They take all the energy and focus it in one direction. So that means wherever you're pointed, you hear very well, they hear you very well, but everywhere else, nope. So I've worked a number of DX stations where I'm the first one to answer with my vertical, and I get them, while all the big boys are bringing their beams around. Now I've got a hex beam. Oh, I've had trouble with it. We took it down and fixed it, and we're going to have to do that again. I've got some video of that. I haven't put it in a video yet. We'll have to find that. Okay, let's see. Eric's son, hello, Dave and Augies. Let's see. Big mag loop on a lighting tripod, but don't like leaving that one out in the rain. Yeah, if you have to tune it right at the antenna, that's all the inexpensive, and by inexpensive I mean $400 or $500 mag loops. You have to be right at the antenna to tune the capacitor in there, which is no fun at all. And if you go more than 10 or 15 kilohertz away from where you are, you have to tune it again. They're extremely high Q. So if you have the kind, I happen to have one of the magnetic loop antennas. I bought that with channel funds. It was one of the very first things I got with channel funds, and gave that a good thorough review, and worked really well, but of course MFJ isn't. There. Let's see. Hey Dave, your Richter scale's off the chart. Yeah, I know the camera kept, and it's just jury rigged up there right now. Nashua 357 gaffer tape, except no substitute. Earthquake in Colorado. Yes, they do happen. Usually not more than about a 30 on the Richter scale. I mean, you've really got to be sitting real still to feel it. Of course, 3 to 4 is 10 times the impact. 4 to 5 is another 10 times, or 100 times. It's a very logarithmic scale. Okay, Chad Strawn. Hello, Dave from Chad, KQ4ZNH. Finished my last day at the Teachers Institute in Newington, Connecticut at ARRL headquarters, and passed my amateur extra test at headquarters. And it says, best wishes from Chad. Well, good for you. You undoubtedly met Steve Goodgame. He's the one, I think, that persuaded the league to put my training videos, take them off my channel, and put them on the league stuff so that they go right along with their textbooks. Now, Gordon West is in there too, and the league is using his books. His books have a chapter per chapter. My books have a video for each section of a chapter. So it goes into a lot more detail. But they're up there, they're available. The technician videos are available on the ARRL HQ website. And my general and extra videos, and they're all current. That's one of my agreements with the league. They are up behind the firewall. I wanted them to keep general outside the firewall, but I guess I'd run out of requests that they would honor anyway. Yes, they do pay me to put them there, but part of that pay is to keep them current. So they basically replaced the income that I got from selling thumb drives with the videos on it. So I don't do that anymore. So congrats to Chad. Got my general last month, picked up a Kenwood TS140 power supply and tuner. Still waiting for my SWR meter to arrive. TS140, TS140, TS140. Okay, I got a look. TS140. Oh, Kenwood. Kenwood TS140. Okay, that's a more modern radio than I was thinking. Okay, and that's fine. That's a good radio. Could do you for a long time. Some of them have built-in SWR meters. Many tuners have built-in SWR meters. An SWR meter by itself shouldn't cost you very much. Now, there's a little doohickey that's right here. I got this with channel funds. It's SWR and power meter, and it's a CQV SWR 120. And I think it's probably open source or something because there's a lot of different sources that you can get this from. It'll tell you your instantaneous power, SWR, and so on, which is very nice because with an external SWR meter, it will tell you you have to put a steady tone into it to tell what the SWR is. Now, the reference station, for those of you who are new to being generals or extras, I have on my website at Casler, that's DCASLER.com/reference. And let's see if I can pull it up here. We're going to do the screen. Okay, now we're going to do dcasler.com, and now it's reference. I'll just put this on here. Here it is. Oh, yeah. I've had trouble with my website because the company that does it is, I just got switched to a new company, and I don't know what they're doing. So anyway, this is the reference station for the general and amateur extra. Now note, this is a reference. It's a so-called reference design. It's a design like engineers use, and then they modify it for their particular requirements. For the radio itself, I've been recommending for several years the ICOM IC7300, although a lot of people are switching to the new Yaesu FT 140, 741, I don't know, it's a Yaesu that's about the same price. Power supply, coax runs, RF connectors, power distribution, power connectors, antenna. Now, unfortunately, the MFJ 2010 is no longer there, or you can go down to the ARRL kit, and I think that's a link to it. Yes, it is right there. And it's $79.95 that you can get from the ARRL directly. Okay, grounding, lightning surge. Actually, I've got all Morgan right now. And neither the Alpha Delta nor the Morgan are listed UL-wise. So I'm not sure about the polyphaser. If any of you have polyphaser lightning arresters, tell me if they are, quote, UL listed. It should be stamped on there or a sticker or something. Straight key, so on. This is a quite inexpensive key. There is a video that shows about it. And, I'll just see if I can come out. You know, this was back when I was
20 minutes on up.
So right there. This is just a little.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dits.
a little key. Okay, like $50.
And then you could just, by going this way.
I suspect they're 3D printed, and I expect that the tariffs from China, boy, there's quite a bit of delay here. Okay, normal view doesn't work, so we'll go to overhead. That's this one right here. It's obviously not overhead. This computer I'm using is about 5 years old. It's been updated all along. It's Windows 11 now, and it is faster than greased lightning. I deliberately bought it. It's got an i7 in it. I couldn't quite bring myself to spring for the i9, but it's got 16 gig of memory, and it's got the NVIDIA card in it, and yada, 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 yada. And it's what I do video editing on. Now, my assistant, he is using a much newer Corsair gaming machine. You can tell it's a gaming machine because it has like 6 fans, all glowing different colors, so it must be a gaming machine. Anyway, that thing is faster than double greased lightning, and that's what he does the renderings on. This thing here, when I render an ordinary video, I find out that the rendering machine is about 10 times faster than real time. So on the order of, it'll take a 10-minute video and completely render it into an uploadable MP4 in a minute. So that's good. When I first started this game quite some time ago, rendering, they even gave you the option, do you want us to just turn off your machine when we're done? Because they figured everybody was going to leave rendering for overnight or something like that. But these things render really quickly. Okay, and oops. Okay, let's catch up here. No trees, small inner city backyard, 5 meter by 9 meter courtyard. Usually use a self-supporting vertical, but the wind has been a little vicious. Oh yeah, I have 240 volt supply lines, 2 meters the other side of the fence. That's a rough situation. I'd try to get something on the roof if you could. Even if it's a dipole, the thing about dipoles, and I've done videos on this, you can hang them as an inverted V and then bring the end straight down. So you can fit it into almost any imaginable space. I even, for one of the Ask Dave videos, did one where I actually modeled this. I took a dipole, and instead of it being straight, this end was at the middle was bent this way, and this end at the middle was bent this way, and it worked fine. So, you've got a lot of flexibility with the dipole. And don't forget your ground system. Hello from, this is Chris Goodman, K0BLU. Hello from St. Cloud, Minnesota, where it's 58 degrees Fahrenheit with rain. Sorry I missed you, Dayton. I'm sorry too. I met lots of Augies at Dayton because you remember I had asked you, if you saw me at Dayton, please stop me. and say hi. And so I'm in lots of selfies and so on and so forth. I did a quick little video yesterday, day before, yesterday, Thursday, okay, that I just went through the stuff I got at Dayton, okay. It wasn't one of these big production kinds of things. Just, they had, from what I understand, 36,000 people there this year. That's up 10% from what they had last year. And yes, it was crowded. I had the opportunity to talk with a lot of people. You know, I always tell you guys, and on the videos themselves, if you're going to buy an Anytone radio, Anytone, I got one right here. This is an Anytone radio. Okay. Let's see if the radio is actually in here. Yeah, it is. This is a DMR radio. Now, see if I can remember how to get this battery off. Because this is a Chinese thing, I guess. They don't put the model number on the outside. This is a 168, ATD 168U. Okay, so I've got this. I need to do a review of it. But I say buy it from Bridgecom Systems. They advertise in every QST. Why do I say that? I say that because you can get these anywhere. Ham radio outlet, you know, all these kinds of things. But if you want support, if you want somebody to answer the phone when you've got a question, Bridgecom Systems is the only outfit in the country that does that. They also offer what they call DMR University, and if you buy your radio from them, then the university's free. It's a bunch of web lessons. And whereas if you bought it somewhere else and you want the university, it's $80. So I would recommend buying it from them. They're great people. I've met them at several Daytons in a row, and their business has really grown. I won't take credit for all that. They also sell repeaters and things like that, both commercial, government, and so on, and amateur radio. Okay, good morning from the Japan Islands. Alpha Kilo 4 Victor Oscar, Marvin Motz. Hello. Coach 10X, I live in the country, have a bunch of room, so I don't have a problem with having enough room to put up an antenna. Okay. Look at that video. It's on the, go ARRL space HQ space Casler, and that should bring up the playlist for the Ask Dave videos. With every Ask Dave column that I write, there is also a supplemental video. And the one I did in October, for the October issue in 2023, shows you how to make, I mean in great detail, this 4-band antenna that you can put up outside. And I recommend 40 as your first band, 20 as your next. And this antenna will cover all of those. And it's just made of plain old wire stripped out of Romex. Insulated wire stripped out of Romex. There's nothing wrong with using that for an antenna. Now, it is soft drawn copper. So over time, I'm talking over 2 or 3 or 4 years, it will stretch a little bit. That's fine. Take it down, trim it back, put it back up. By the way, stretching it turns it into hard drawn copper. But and if a storm blows it down, throw it away and start over. I mean, I think we spent $5 on it. Now, if you're going to make an antenna from scratch, totally from scratch, here's what I recommend. I think it's in here. Nope. Nope. Okay, it's in the other room. My channel has spread out to cover both bedrooms of the house. So we've got our master bedroom and then 2 ham radio rooms because I get so much junk, and plus my assistant needs a place to work. So anyway, you can go down to Home Depot and purchase any color wire you want. It's just one piece of wire. It's insulated. THHN is the type of insulation for normal house wire. And get the, quote, stranded wire. It's got 7 strands in it. Why? Because it's so doggone much easier to work with than just single unstranded wire. And, you know, if you strip a piece of Romex, you're going to get 3 cables out of it, a white one, a black one, and either in green insulation or just wrapped in paper. Most of that I've seen recently is just wrapped in paper. But that's the ground wire. It doesn't matter if you connect the red wire to the green, or to, not the green, the red wire to the bare copper to get your length that you need. You can do that and without any trouble. Obviously, don't do that with anything that is live. Don't go stripping the copper out of your walls. I mean, there's a million things you can make dipoles out of. If you want to be really official about it, you can go get copper weld wire, which is hard wire, drawn copper and so on. So it will be a little bit, let's see, pick a goal. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that is. By the way, somebody just put $10 into the channel funds, which I truly appreciate. Now, this is a commercial enterprise. I'm registered with the state. I pay sales taxes for anything I happen to sell, and I also pay income taxes on all of this too. So, you know, it's all legal above board. I don't try to hide it or anything. I avoid using the term donation because I'm not a charity. I may seem wonderfully charitable to you, but I'm not an official 401c3 charity. So our ham club is, but I'm not. I'm the 1040 kind of guy. So now I use that. I subtract from that what it costs me to go to these various ham fests. So those are deductions from it, but I still end up making, what was it last year? Close to $20,000. Now I'm retired. I get Social Security, a dinky little pension from Lockheed, and then Social Security. And then the revenue from this channel, coupled with the ARRL revenue, that part is 40% of my retirement income. So think of me kindly, throw $1 or $2 in the tip jar, if you will. The tip jar is set up for one time, and you can go, well, I'll just bring up the page and show you here, screen, and we'll go to, let's see, dcasler.com, support. Okay, there's a one-time tip jar right here. You can do a monthly subscription, and there, see, I blew it. I put contributor, supporter, underwriter as names. I should change that name so it has nothing to do with contribute. Patreon is a good one. Go to patreon.com/KE0OG. Okay, and occasionally somebody sends me something through the mail. Also, if you look
here on the website. Oop, another one of those pages that got lost in the transition. Anyway, I had a whole list of Amazon products you could buy. And if you bought them, I got a few percent of that. But I get like $20 a month from that. So I get actually a little more money from Patreon than I do from Google, because I do run ads. I hate mid-roll ads. They drive me nuts. There's this really good pianist, a prodigy, back east now, in Nashville. Anyway, I'd be listening to something and just a million miles away in the music, and then wham, a mid-roll commercial. And I wrote to him and said, please get rid of those mid-roll commercials. He says, I can't afford it. You know, that channel is his only income. And he's got a little recording studio there too, but those take years to really take off. So anyway, that has to do with, let's see, it's the overhead one.
That one. Okay, we're back where we started. Anyway, I really appreciate the support that you can give me here. It is important to me. I do pay an assistant, and I pay him quite a bit because he's brilliant, and I don't want him being hired away by McDonald's to be a fry cook. Okay, so I've got to pay him. He doesn't know this yet, so don't tell him, but as a teenager, I'm paying him a lot less than I would have to pay an adult. And I couldn't afford to pay an adult because the channel doesn't make enough money to do that. He's a kid I know from the church. And a lot of people don't know this, but kids that go on Mormon missions, the church will take you there and it will bring you home. But you have to pay a set amount of money each month. This is kind of pooled and takes care of everything. And it's close to 500, maybe a little bit more than that a month. When I went on my mission, it was 100 a month. And my parents paid for it. But I think he's saved enough money, even now, from all I've paid him so he can pay for his own mission and doesn't have to be a burden on his parents. That's a chunk of money every month. But yeah. Okay, hello from St. Cloud, Minnesota. We got that. Good morning from the Japan Islands. AK. Okay, that's Alaska. But the 4, Alaska's AK7, I thought. Oh well, kind of curious just where you live. Okay, so he's going to put up an antenna. High voltage to the street is buried, but I'm limited as to what I can put up. Okay. I did a video recently where I took a piece of wire, it may still be around here somewhere, just a piece of hookup wire, and took part of it up to a pole, and then I needed an outdoor external antenna tuner so that there would be no transmission line between that short piece of wire, because it becomes an antenna as soon as it comes out the back of the tuner. Now, I don't have an external tuner, so I took my MFJ 993B, which is an automatic tuner, and I took a 12-volt battery out with it, plugged that in outside because it was a beautiful day, no rain, no worries about rain, and it tuned up that antenna in a heartbeat. Now, I will tell you, I made a mistake. It wasn't tuning. And the reason it wasn't is because I was using the tuner in the radio. And the two tuners were fighting each other. So I turned the tuner off in the radio. And then that little piece of wire was just brilliant. Did really, really well. So if you want to, now the ARRL antenna comes with gray stranded wire. Gray is nice because it seems to blend in to about anything. I bought a 500-foot roll of it from Home Depot, stranded, for, it was less than $100 for a 500-foot roll and make antennas out of it. So, and radios and all that kind of thing. Now, if you're going to put in a vertical antenna, there are many different ways that you can do that. You can take a dipole like for 20 meters and just put it this way, but you've got to feed it from the side, which becomes weird. If you've got an end-fed half wave, you can put it up at 66 feet long. They make all kinds of things that can solve the vertical antenna problem, usually with loading at the base. Wolf River Coils comes to mind. I have their Take It Along TIA antenna. I bought that with channel funds and was very impressed with the performance. Now, one thing you got to look for, these guys who make these wonderful coils that will move heaven and earth, bring the earth closer and put us all in outer space, they actually make their coils out of stainless steel. Now, the problem with that, now if it made it copper, the thing about copper is that it eventually gets that green patina on it. Okay, so you'd have to be cleaning it all the time. Stainless steel, you don't have to do that. But what they don't tell you is this. Stainless steel is a really crappy conductor of electricity. I measured across my Wolf Rivers coil a full 5 ohms. That's 1/10 of the radiation resistance. So I'm taking 10% of my power and throwing it away to heat that coil. So I was kind of disappointed when I learned that. But anyway, it's an antenna that does work. It's not very big. Now, there is a kind of antenna made by MFJ. I think DX Engineering might still have some. It only stands 18 feet tall. And so you can hide it behind your house. Just throw out a few radials on that thing, and it works quite well. I was really impressed. Okay, Eric Sund, I have an Ed Fong GMRS antenna. He's always responded to any concerns I've had. Good antenna. Good man. I heard a presentation that he made once. He's very enthusiastic about these antennas. And I've got one of them, and it unrolls, so you hang it like from a tree limb or anything like that. Or you can just put up a wooden mast and hang it from that. There's lots of things you can do. For 2 meter FM, which is what most people do on 2 meters, it's all vertically polarized. Okay, so if you put up a dipole, you're putting the signal out in such a fashion that a lot of people are not going to be able to receive it. Now, if you've got an FT991, which is DC to daylight, it covers HF plus VHF plus UHF. You can work modes other than FM on 2 meters and 6 meters, like for example FT8. Okay, but everything other than FM at those frequencies is generally, like almost always, horizontally polarized. So just something to keep in mind. Now for HF, you're going to bounce off the ionosphere. The ionospheric transit splits the wave into 2 waves. They don't follow the same trajectory quite. One is right-hand circular polarized, the other is left-hand circular polarized. One is called the ordinary wave, or O wave, and the other is the extraordinary wave, or X wave. You can receive either one of them. The ordinary wave is stronger by quite a bit than the extraordinary wave. Now, a vertical antenna or a horizontal antenna will receive circularly polarized transmissions with a loss of 3 dB. If you have a circularly polarized antenna, which is remarkably easy to make, actually nothing goes in a circle. You can switch polarizations back and forth with a little relay up at the where the crossed dipoles meet. And you've got two crossed dipoles, and you feed them 90 degrees out of phase. Okay, and you'll get a circularly polarized signal up and a obliquely, elliptically polarized wave going up to the ionosphere. But it's just something to know about. By the way, if you get a lot of fading in your signals, the fading means that you've got a signal and it's hitting this piece of the ionosphere and coming to you, and it's hitting this piece of the ionosphere and coming to you. And the waves, when they get to you, go in and out of phase. And that's what gives you fading. It can be very slow, it can be very fast. It all depends on the conditions of the ionosphere. Now, what you can do about that, there are a couple things. Spatial diversity. Get two antennas some distance apart, and 4 wavelengths, 5 wavelengths, quarter mile, whatever. There are things called diversity receivers. I think you can do it with the SDR Play Duo, but you want to do it with your ham radio. You can switch back and forth between antennas because when one fades out, the other's fading in. Another thing you can do is polarization diversity. Just put two antennas or antennas like this or whatever and switch back and forth between the vertical and the horizontal. And very often when the vertical fades away, the horizontal will work. And when that fades away, the vertical will work. So that's one way of dealing with fading. The fading is when it goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back, and so on. Usually it means that within a half hour or so, the band is going to close. So I don't know any hams who actually use polarization diversity. Or do I use that word today? It's the same word as DEA, diversity. Polarization diversity. Didn't know that we had to take into account those who are polarized. Anyway, joke. Why are J-poles so popular when UHF, VHF verticals are cheap and work well? What's the advantage? UHF, VHF verticals are quarter wave verticals with a ground plane. A J-pole is a half wave antenna that is end fed. The part where you've got the two things running parallel to each other is a quarter wave matching stub. Now think about it. If you go from 0 to 90 degrees down a transmission line, you go from 0 voltage all the way up to the maximum voltage. And the current does what the current does, but in any event, the point is that the impedance of the shorted section at the bottom is 0, so therefore the impedance at the top of it is very high. It's not really infinite, but it's very high, 2,000 or 3,000 ohms. Okay, now what you do to feed a J-pole is you move up the J-pole till you hit the spot where it's 50 ohms. That's where you feed it. Now you look at a J-pole and you go, wait a minute, I'm only 4 inches up from the bottom. It's shorted. How can that not short the RF? Well, to RF, it looks like a piece of transmission line, and you're 50 ohms of the way up. And then at the very top, you don't have that transmission line anymore, and you've got a half-wave dipole sticking straight up, and it is end fed. Okay, so it works really well. So the problem with these little verticals, and they are very cheap, they've only got like 4 radials on them. So they're not really a unity gain antenna. They're a sub-unity gain antenna. They're a bit of a compromise. They work. They work. They'll work far better than anything you've got inside the house. And what I used to do with my J-pole is I'd go up on the roof on the back where nobody could see it, and I just dropped the J-pole down one of the vent holes. The vents were about this big around, so the J-pole got down to the little part that jutted out, And yeah, it was angled over slightly, but it worked fine. Antennas can be very forgiving. By the way, the J-pole design of a quarter wave matching stub, and you pick the 50 ohm point to feed it and you short the end, will work on other bands. MFJ used to make one for 20 meters. It's a single band antenna. Okay, just like a J-pole is a single band antenna, because that matching stub is a quarter wavelength long. Now, you may ask, okay, I got the quarter wave matching stub going up to the antenna. I'm end feeding it here, and it goes over here for a half wavelength. Okay? Now, what about the other side of that open matching stub? It will do the same thing. And I have an antenna right up here. It's an MFJ antenna where not only does it go out one way for half wavelength, but it goes the other way for a half wavelength. So you got these two antennas on the same line will actually narrow the beam front and back, okay, to give you a little bit of gain. Now that's a heck of a thing to try and rotate, but still, it's very interesting what you can do with those things. I don't know why, but the ARRL handbook has never picked up on that. They talk about the so-called ZEP antenna. Well, the Zeppelin antenna was made the way I described it. Okay. But they don't show that in there. It's just an outscale dipole. It's the same with 2 meters. If you want to bend the pole over, you can do that. Of course, you want vertical polarization for FM, so you got to swing it this way, and then the matching stub is horizontal. Sometimes maybe somebody has to do that. I don't know. Okay. Chris Wilson, the mag loop I built is 2.7 meters across. Woo. And does 40 and 20, 2.7. That's nearly 10 feet. I think you can probably get 80 meters out of that thing. Takes 100 watts, remote tune, cost me less than $100 all up. Chris, I want to see pictures and drawings of that, because I think there are a lot of people who would be very, very interested in what you've done. So send them to me at, now I've been telling people to go to askdavid.arrl.org, but they did a major upset there, and that email disappeared for a while. So send it to my real email, which is Casler28, CASLER28 @gmail.com. And that will work just fine. I've had that email for years and years and years and years. And long before I started to do YouTube, there are other emails you can use that will get to me, but that's probably the best one to do that. Dave@dcasler.com also usually works, but Casler28 at gmail.com works always in all those situations. But congratulations, Chris, on that loop. I would still think, man, if you got enough capacitance in there, you could work 80 on that. That's the better part of 10 feet in diameter. Ben-Hur CBs and trucker tips. Hey, Mr. Dave. Hey, Chris Wilson, Jason, Eric, Coach X10. Hello, Japanese Islands. And hey, Bill Myers and Miss Peggy Love. Okay, so, oops. All right. Chris, I've been strapping 33 feet of drawn aluminum telescopic pole to the fence furthermost away from the power lines. Gives me 20 end fed. I mount a mobile whip on top to give me 40 meter on the same match. Cool. You need to write articles for QST. Or for, if you can make it simple enough, for the On the Air magazine, which is designed for new techs. or people who are studying for their general. Okay, let's see. Radio dead, vertical. Okay, let's see. Harry Rundle is here. Good evening, Dave, from AC3EK. Okay, now we're going to do a drawing here at 8 o'clock. Okay, I also made a mag loop I can poke out the window. Takes 100 watts and is remote tuned. Very nice. Is it okay to replace an SWR meter with the nano VNA? Not if you're going to transmit through it. No. Now, if you've got it disconnected and you want to measure the SWR, yes, nano VNA will work fine. But it is got its own RF source in it. So you don't ever want to try and transmit into that thing. You'll let the smoke out if you do that. The magic smoke will come out. An SWR meter is designed to be inline. As you can see on this one, it's got an antenna and a transmitter. So the transmitter comes in over here. The antenna comes in here. The little USB thing here is to charge the internal battery. And it's got a little lithium battery in it so that when it comes on, you can see it. It's got a battery voltage, 3.98 volts right now. It's down here. You can see that. These are really cool, but they're, I don't know. I mean, they're from China, and if anybody's interested, drop me a line and I will give you the link that I used to buy it. I think it was probably shipped by Amazon. Now, I know what a lot of these Chinese companies did was pre-ship a whole bunch of electronics to the United States so that they could sell it from a United States asset. It's already been through customs. Okay, so they don't get hit with the tariffs. I have heard today that the tariffs on China are down under 60%. That was a news story today or yesterday. I saw it on Google News. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Chinese stuff is so cheap that most of what you pay for is the shipping anyway. Maybe they can figure out a way to have it go through customs while it's still in China, like they do in Canada. We were waiting for the ferry between Victoria Island and whatever the port is on the Washington side. We were waiting in line for that, and this customs lady came up to us and says, "What'd you buy in Canada?" I said, "Well, we bought a few seeds up at the gardens that they have. There's gorgeous gardens. Bought a few," and she looked at them and stamped them. You know, it was under the limit at the time. And so they did the customs in Canada, and then they didn't have to do it in the U.S., where they create quite a backup with all the cars. Because the ferry, you know, only comes over certain times of the day. Cars going home are all lined up, sitting there, and nobody's doing anything. That's a great time for a customs person to come through and check all the cars. So, I don't know what they'll do to try and keep the costs down. Now, the Japanese radios, well, it's only 10% tariff from Japan, but they have their stuff made in China. Okay, so the tariffs are going to affect that too. And there is no automobile that exists that's made entirely in one country. When they had the big tsunami in Japan with Fukushima and so on, there's a little factory there that does not make a chip. It makes a part of a chip. And that part of a chip is found in every car built. It has something to do with determining the fuel ratio and stuff like that. And when that factory was shut down, all the manufacturers around the world were freaking out because nobody else made that chip. And then they came back online and everybody said, okay, problem solved. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, so yeah, no, treat your nano VNA with respect. Yaesu FTDX10 is one step up from the bottom one. They announced them both at the same time at Dayton, by the way. Yaesu.com. Let's see if it gives me, okay, amateur, HF transceivers. Is this coming out of Japan? Let's go to, yeah, I guess it's, okay, this is their new big radio, the FTDX10 and the FT710. Now the difference between these two radios and why they're about $300 apart, I asked. I pulled one of the DX engineering guys aside, spent quite a bit of time with him talking about these two radios. This is more expensive because it has roofing filters in it. This is pure DSP. It does not have roofing filters. Neither does the ICOM. And the ICOM, my ICOM, the 7300, it can be hit with signals that are too strong but are off frequency or even on another band, and it will capture the front end of the receiver. So that is a weakness. And it's also a weakness of the 710. He says, don't take it to field day. But the DX in there is a way that they've lined up that front end. I have an FTDX 3000. There's also been in the past FTDX 5000s and 9000s. And my 3000, that thing has in it the best receiver I have ever, in 50 years of being a ham, ever used. It's fantastic. Now, the ICOM has a good receiver. It does. But pay a little bit more for that thing. So if you are in an area where you have trouble with like AM broadcast stations leading into your signal or so on, you want the FTDX10 because it has the roofing filters. What that does is it puts a very tight filter over the entire band, and they call that a roof. Okay, roofing filters. Somebody had to come up with the name. They could have called them bridges, they could have called them arches, but no, roofing. So anyway, that has the filters, so somebody on another band at your field day site is not going to interfere with you. They won't capture your front end. Okay. The 991A, again, FT only. You look at these FTDXs, the 101MP, the 101. These are the ones that have got the fancy stuff in them. Okay, so that's the difference. You know, I never changed
the screen. Okay, here we go. It's the FTDX10. The FT710 is the radio that they built to compete with the ICOM 7300. It's a nice radio. Very nice radio. 10 years newer than the 7300. The FTDX10 has the roofing filters. Anything with the DX in it has the roofing filters, which would be these three right now. Okay, so this doesn't have the roofing filters, which is why it's $200-300 cheaper. It'll work just fine. It will work as well as the ICOM 7300. While I was there, I talked to, what's his name? The marketing guy for Overhead. That's that one.
Talked to the marketing guy for ICOM and says, when are you going to upgrade the 7300? He says, why should we? We're selling them so fast. And I told him, I think with my channel, I've probably sold several hundred of those radios. He said, thank you. So, okay. I've been telling people to go get the ICOM. I've always been a Yaesu person, but at the time, The ICOM 7300 was the popular radio, and it still is. Okay, so now Chris says, I do both. I tune with the Nano VNA and then put the SWR meter in line to keep an eye on thing. A few milliwatts may match, but if you rung 100 watts, the additional power may be heating stuff up. Well, yeah, I think so. Could be. My roomie has one. Okay. Neil Marsh, W7NRM. Good evening, all in the car. Spouse unit driving, heading back to Chehalis from Olympia. Very good. Glenn, hello from the far west Missouri area. We went through on I-70. At one point, we were going through Independence on our way back from Dayton. It was a really hard trip for her because my wife is having absolutely extraordinarily bad back trouble. And I looked at her MRI report, and I've had a lot of back trouble in the past too. I'm not right now. Things seem to have kind of stabilized, whatever that means. But anyway, I looked at her MRI and went, wow. So anyway, it was a really rough trip for my wife. I tried to get a local ham who was a teenager. No, not a teenager. He was 21. He was of age. Okay. I'm not going to take a minor cross country in a RV. It's not going to do it. So, I mean, 50 years ago, yeah, no problem. Today, no way. So, anyway, there was a guy is in our church. He was 21, a ham, new ham. I says, come with me. It's Dayton Hamvention is the biggest candy store in the world for a new ham. Okay, I need to share the driving with you and stuff like that. He couldn't go. So my wife says, you've got to go to Dayton, I'll go with you. I think we would have been better off if I'd just driven by myself. Maybe this coming year I'll start 2 or 3 days earlier so I don't have to go so far each day. And maybe speak at a couple ham clubs on the way. I don't know, something like that. Okay, the poke out the window Tenna mag loop I can use from my office workshop that's upstairs. It's a little close to the power line alongside, but far enough away that I haven't any blue sparks yet. Larry Fields, good morning from Manila. The spray you mentioned on the July QST will work on my IC 7300. Has not been in use since 2017. I wish to get it back online. Are you talking about Deoxit D5? Let me look that up on the internet here.
Deoxit D5. Well, there it is. Very much. Oh, this is a HOSA keg. Deoxit cleaner. Deoxit is Hosatech. Maybe they bought them. Keg Laboratories. Now, Sweetwater is a music store. Keg. Deoxit D series page with shop. There used to be a Deoxit Corp. Well, this is it. Right here, the Deoxit D series. Okay. I did a video on this years ago. And I use it from time to time. It's contact cleaner. It's a contact cleaner that is very, quote, volatile. Okay, volatile does not mean that it burns fast. It means that it evaporates quickly. That's the chemical definition of volatile. D5 is very volatile. And you spray it on something and it will mix itself with the grease. And then as the D5 evaporates, the grease goes with it. So anyway, you can get contact cleaner, I think, at any auto parts store. Now, in my original manuscript for that particular thing about cleaning, I had the Deoxit 5 in there with a link, and they kind of edited it down. I think they took out the part about auto parts stores, but you know, everybody needs contact cleaner. You can get it fairly easily. Sean, KM6NFO, Dave, great to see you. Thanks for all the info. Best wishes to you and all the Augies. Coach 10X, whoops. Coach 10X. Dave, can I use electric fence wire? Neighbor gave me a huge roll of this stuff. Get out 100 feet. I don't know. I think that stuff's insulated these days because the spark will jump right through the insulation. And then that preserves the wire. But measure the resistance of 100 feet. And then you can divide it by 100 to see what it is per foot. Copper, of course, the best conductor is silver. Now, I don't know any ham who can afford stranded silver THHN wire. That would be expensive. The next best conductor is copper. That's why we use copper. Iron is not that good a conductor. It does conduct, but it's not that good a conductor. Stainless steel is made primarily of iron. It has some additives in it so that it won't react so much with seawater and stuff like that. Okay, this is, let me go back to the normal.
I'm going to come up and do the overhead one. There we go. Okay. So try the electric fence where it might work really well. By the way, for the insulator at the middle of the dipole, you don't have to buy anything fancy. I use electric fence insulators. They're a dime a dozen, not a dime a dozen, $5 a dozen. Down at your local farm store, Tractor Supply or Murdoch's or whatever it is, you can get those things just dirt cheap, and they work fine. So, Sean, KM6NFO, has added $10 to the chat revenue and says, thanks for all you do. And I greatly appreciate that, Sean. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sound needs much more clarity and punch. I'll tell you what I'll do. Here are my little Rode wireless mics. There's two actual wireless mics and then a receiving unit. Can receive them separately or together. I'd do it separately so I can mix in Audacity and get the levels correct. Next time, I will try to use one of these as the audio source, and you'll get nice audio. The webcams are not designed for nice audio, I'm afraid. Let's see. Chuck Schreiber, good evening, Dave, and hello to everyone. N5 KVO from the hill country of South Texas. John Liu, you're a ham guy. Your mic setup should be much better. Yes, well, I have a bunch of microphones, including some USB mics, and this will act as a USB mic. I can do it in real time. That'll work. Okay, Casler, the friendly host. Well, thank you. Okay, Chris Goodman, I highly recommend the Voice of America Museum near Cincinnati. Great tour. I agree. I have been there. Chris Goodman is the one who did that and put $20 in the chat revenue. Thank you so much. Now we are out of time. I will note here that Harry Rundle has added $10 to the chat revenue. This is very important to me that we keep this channel self-funding. Says Dave, thanks you, Dave, and all you do and contribute our knowledge base of this hobby. It's 8:15. I said I'd do a drawing. Okay, this I've got from a bunch of different people here. Now I've got AC3HT has by far the most cards in here, but I don't know if I'll pull his out. I'm just gonna kind of mix them up, and I'm going to then turn it in half, put my finger in the middle, okay, and take the one on top of my finger is Bill Myers, K-A-8-G-I-M. And Bill, congratulations. I'll have the mail this shortwave receiver in the mail to you shortly. Okay, and thank you very much. And thank you for still believing in my channel. I appreciate it. Okay, what is the best digital mode for a beginner? FT8. Larry, when I bought my Common H422, was told it was a vertical in the V settings, been a super antenna. Morse code, yes, go to the Long Island CW Club. Look it up on the internet. They have devoted themselves to teaching CW. So if you contact them, not only do you get the lessons, you get a real human who will be your mentor, who will call you, keep track of you, chase you into the wildest wilderness to make sure you stay on it, and you'll learn the Morse code. That's the Long Island CW Club, okay? Yeah, WSJTX is the software that I would recommend for FT8. It can be a little frustrating setting up sometimes, but you'll get there. FLDigi, the problem with FLDigi, it does a lot of modes that are no longer popular. It used to be that PSK31, which is FLDigi's forte, was the most popular mode. It's a conversational mode. But it got to the point where people would put standard things into macros, and then when they ran out of macros, they'd terminate the conversation. Nobody would sit and type to me anymore. So WSJTX, which is free, by the way. And I'm back. Okay, it's pronounced Shahale. What's Shahale? Shahale. Okay, I'm missing something here. Anyway, hello Dave. Leo, checking in from Albany, Oregon. Neil Marsh, copper-clad steel. Yeah, that's the so-called copper weld wire. Copper weld is a trade name. And what they do is they use it where they have trouble with wire thieves. And it is a problem, even here in Uray County. Some people, the San Miguel was putting up some, San Miguel Power Association was putting up some high tension lines, and people stole the wire right out from under them twice. You'd think they could post a security guard or something. Of course, they might come back the next morning and find the security guard shot. A little bit of the Wild West out here. But copper weld has no trade-in value because it's copper and steel. You have to go to a lot of trouble to separate the two and get the copper, which is the only thing that's worth anything because the steel isn't. But the steel gives it strength, and the copper around it, remember, at RF, it's the skin effect, okay? Even at high voltage, it's the skin effect, okay? So we are out of time. Now, I'm noticing that the live stream is actually running several minutes behind. So, steel to carry the weight, yeah. The copper on the outside, you get the skin effect. The higher the frequency, it's more just the skin that carries the signal. And actually to be fully engineering compliant, the actual signal is in an area around the wire. If you look at the mathematics, the so-called pointing vector is the energy. It shows you which direction the power is going. And it'll have a direction which will be coterminous with the wire, concentric with the wire. But the energy actually is around it. I know that's weird to think of, that the energy doesn't stay in the wire. Now, coax cable is unbalanced. It's designed so that something that is grounded will surround the wire. And then the center conductor is where you see the current, but the RF energy is actually going down through the dielectric. And this is why there is frequency-dependent loss in coax. The higher the frequency, the more the loss. At 80, 40, 20, not a big deal, okay? But when you get up to 2 meters, it is a big deal, okay? You can lose a lot of your signal in thin, cheap coax. You need to get something like RG213 or LMR 400 or something like that. I know that is expensive. Okay, I'm going to say 73 at this point, and we'll try again Thursday. We'll see if we can actually do it. So until we next meet, 73.